Hi there, Steve Coffin here. Today is Boxing Day in Canada, day after Christmas. There are sales in the stores, but I'm not going there because I don't need anything. By the time you reach my age, you have everything you've ever wanted or needed in spades. Too many shirts, too many socks, too many pants, too many everything. Anyway, so I decided to do a video instead. And I want to talk about speaking. How do we get to speaking well in the language? I always talk about input, but today I want to talk a bit about output. And I want to talk about 3 secrets to perhaps, hopefully, becoming better at speaking in a language. First thing is, just do it and do it with humility, okay? Allow people to criticize you. Accept rejection. Don't worry about it. Sometimes I hear people say, well, I learned German and I went to Germany and I spoke to whoever in German and they answered in English, crestfallen. Well, you have no right to expect that people will humor you in German or whatever language you're learning just because you're learning that language. These people just want to communicate. Typically, I have found that even languages that I don't speak very well, if I go to the country, some people will speak to me in the language that I'm learning, and some people will revert to English. It's just that way. Accept it with humility. In a way, it's a form of rejection of your effort to learn the language, but accept it. It's a bit like me doing these videos. I get all kind. I wouldn't say all kind. I get a small amount of criticism, and any amount of criticism we will get about our ability in another language is going to be a very minor group of people who react that way. Most people just want to communicate. So if I look at some of the comments that I receive here, your Japanese is no good, your French is not very good. One of my favorites is they say, well, Steve thinks that a linguist is someone who speaks many languages. That proves that he doesn't speak languages, or some comment to that effect. I mean, that's just silly. In fact, the word linguist, as I've said many times, has for most of the last 300-400 years meant someone who's good at speaking languages. Recently, the word polyglot has started to be used by some people. Some people use it, some people don't. That has nothing to do with anyone's ability to speak languages. Some people will say, Steve, you're boring. So I say, well, okay, fine, I'm boring. Why do you bother? You don't have to listen to my videos. So there are a small number of these critical comments. It doesn't bother me. It's not going to prevent me from doing my videos. I think we have to be willing to be humiliated even, humbled by a small number of these critical comments and just not let it bother us. Just do it. So to speak, you have to be willing to just do it. Some people say, I didn't understand. Other people are very helpful and encouraging. You're going to get a variety of different reactions. But the more you speak, the better you'll get. And I'll give you some additional bits of advice in that regard, but you just have to keep doing it. You can't be so fragile that you're worried about what impression you'll create or whatever. You just have to do it. And while I'm a great proponent of, input-based learning, at some point we have to start speaking. I've always said, the more vocabulary you have, the better you understand, the better you will do. You'll understand what the other person is saying. You'll have some words that you may or may not remember, but potentially you have these words you can use. So the more you work on your input, the better you're going to be able to speak. But whenever you do start speaking, you're going to stumble. And whatever stage you are at in your speaking, you can always improve. So just keep speaking. So that's my first. Be humble. Accept the fact that you're not perfect and just keep speaking. You will only improve. You won't get worse. Although it might seem that you're better at sometimes than others, and it'll depend on how well you connect with the people you're talking to and a bunch of other factors, how comfortable you are in the environment, these or the subject matter. This will affect your, how comfortable, how well you speak. But just keep doing it. That's the first thing. The second thing is don't compare. Don't compare yourself to others. And I'm going to leave in the description box a link to a video by a person whom I know, Christine. She's French. And she's done a video in 12 languages. And she is spectacular. She is spectacular in languages as different as Tamil and French and Korean and Japanese and Russian, Spanish and Portuguese. Listen to this video. And she does it with humor, and it's a phenomenal video. And I can't compare myself to Christine. She's much better than I am. That doesn't discourage me from learning languages. You know, sometimes I did a video with Luca Lamporiella and we spoke, can't remember which languages, and people will say, well, Luca's much better than Steve. Sure, it doesn't bother me. The fact that someone else is better than me, better pronunciation, better use of words, for any number of reasons. It could be that they're simply more talented, or they had more opportunity, or they went to the country where the language is spoken, or for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. People are not all going to produce the language equally, smoothly, well, with equally native-like pronunciation, you know, close to the native. It doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself. Also, on the subject of humility, if you look at Christine's video, you'll see that she has like 2.5 million views, which is phenomenal. And she's got like 137,000 likes, but she's still got 1.9 thousand thumbs down. I mean, you watch that video, it's clever, it's witty, she's phenomenal in all these languages, and still 1.9 thousand people managed to give her a thumbs down. To me, that's absolutely extraordinary. Again, it's a small percentage of people who are always going to criticize, and so you have to be humble. They have a right to criticize. What they didn't like. They didn't like whatever. She did that, I don't know, she didn't say something quite as well in Hindi as she should have, or they're jealous, or whatever. It doesn't matter. So don't compare yourself. So the first one is, you know, just do it, be humble. The second one is, can't remember now, what was the second? Yeah, don't compare. Don't compare yourself. There will be people better. There are people that you're better than. Just keep doing it. And the third thing, of course, and I get back to a familiar theme. If you watch Christine's video, obviously she is very alert to the sounds and structures of these languages that she's learned. Yes, she had the opportunity to be in those countries, in most cases, not all, but she hears it. She's alert to it. She notices it. She hears it. You can't produce the language if you can't hear it, if you don't notice how people are using the language. So in your input activities, be conscious of the fact that try to hear how the language is pronounced. Sometimes it's not pronounced the way it's written, as is the case with English. You have to notice that. There are certain structures. You have to be alert to that. The more you listen and read, the better you become at noticing naturally. But you also have to want to notice. So whenever you go and speak, and you'll discover that there are problems, gaps, words you couldn't remember, that's a good opportunity, a good sort of motivation to go back to your input activities and focus in on those areas where you had trouble, and then expose yourself to more and more of that, because your input activities are going to enable you to output better. Reading will enable you to write better. Listening is going to enable you to speak better. In particular, I found our mini stories with a lot of repetition of high frequency verbs gave me momentum for speaking. So all of this stuff can prepare you, but when you do go to speak, just do it. Don't worry about it. Now, easier said than done for some people who are uptight. But remember, you need to be humble. You're not so precious that you can't, you know, make mistakes in front of people. Make mistakes in front of people. And some people may even criticize you. And it doesn't matter. And don't compare yourself to others who speak, say, in your opinion, better than you. Don't worry about comparing. And just do it. But keep working on your input activities at the same time. And that way you will, and you know, that applies to so many things in life. Just go for it. Be humble. Give yourself credit for what you're able to do, and go for it. All right. And yeah, we'll probably talk again before the new year. Bye for now.